Anavar Oxandrolone. So today we're going to take a look at Anavar. There's a lot of mystique surrounding Anavar, some of it warranted, some of it not. It's very popular with female competitors, people who are kind of dipping their toe into the steroid pool, seem to be interested in Anavar, but we'll take a look at it. So today's the Anavar steroid profile. Let's take a look here. So properties of Anavar. It is structurally an altered form of DHT, dihydrotestosterone. There's an added oxygen atom replacing the carbon 2 at the A ring. That modification makes it a very strong anabolic to it. Has the strong anabolic to androgenic ratio. Also a modification at the 17th carbon position by adding of a metal group of making it a C17AA anabolic steroid, so it can be administered orally. This also makes it somewhat liver toxic. It has pretty mild compared to other orals. As I mentioned, it has a very low androgenic properties as compared to testosterone. So if we look at it, its androgenic rating is a 24. Anabolic rating can range from 322 to 630. So it is significantly, the androgen to anabolic ratio is significantly more than other stereos. You're looking at anywhere from pan to 30 times anabolic properties versus androgenic when you're looking at it, which makes it attractive for women to use. There are no estrogenic effects or measurable progestin effects. It promotes lean tissue growth primarily. The androgenic effects are very, very mild. And it's relatively mild for an oral, although no oral is completely harmless to the liver. It increased, so the effects of Anavar: increased protein synthesis like other steroids, increased nitrogen retention just like other steroids. It has been shown to decrease sex hormone binding globulin, SHGB, freeing up your testosterone to work more effectively. Increased IGF-1 production, increased red blood cell count, so to make your hemoglobin and hematocrit go up. I haven't have any significant impact on it, but reduces thyroid binding globulin. There is some belief that may help with fat burning. There also is some anecdotal belief, evidence, the experience-wise, that Anavar does aid in lipolysis a little bit. I haven't seen any dramatic effect, but, it does seem to harden your appetite. Inhibition of glucocorticoids like cortisone. So what would this be good for? When you're stressed out the most, which is in contest prep, your body is under a lot of duress during contest prep, so this would make it a somewhat ideal addition to your contest prep stack. A very, very strong anabolic action, although that, to me, I haven't seen that translate directly into large muscle gain. Side effects of Anavar: as I mentioned, it's very mild compared to other anabolics. It's probably a good training wheels steroid because of it. If you just want to dip your toe in the pool and you're chicken shit and don't want to take a shot, you could start off with Anavar. Can it elevate red blood cell count and hematocrit? Like I said, I haven't really seen it. Of course, this affects different people differently. I don't have a dramatic response to that like some other people do. I've taken pretty high doses of stuff, and my hematocrit has never gotten ridiculously high. There are low risk of androgenic side effects, but ladies, they do exist. If you run high enough doses, you take it long enough, it will masculinize you. Masculine. Why can't I say that fucking word? Masculization. It will masculinize you. It can cause body hair growth. Definitely noticing all my blood work that my cholesterol gets messed up when I'm on Anavar. So it's not without side effects, so if you're concerned about cardiovascular health, that's something to consider. It will mildly suppress natural testosterone production. I just read something about it recently. I can't remember what it was. It was a study done over an 8-week period, and it was pretty mild. It was something like a 30% suppression. Don't quote me on that, if I'm wrong about that. Don't rip me, but you can probably find the study yourself online, but it was pretty mild, so it won't completely shut off your testosterone production. It won't short cycle. Probably over the long duration at high doses it will. Because it is C17 alpha alkylated, it can be liver toxic at higher doses. There's a study I found where it said that they did, and this I think was pretty old, but they tested it on a group set 20 milligrams. There was no liver toxicity at 20 milligram doses or less. At 40 milligrams per day, it produced a 30 to 40% increase in liver enzymes across the test group. At 80 milligrams per day, it caused an 80% increase in liver enzymes, so pretty significant at that dose. I would not drink in excess or take Tylenol while you're on it. It's probably just asking for trouble. You're going to put even more stress on your liver. Tylenol is pretty nasty for your liver, in case you don't know. I had a friend of mine go into complete liver failure from taking Tylenol. He was taking Tylenol to recover from hangovers. And the combination of the Tylenol and alcohol put him in complete liver failure. He wasn't even like a crazy heavy drinker. I don't know what the dose of Tylenol he was taking, but it fucked him up. So be aware with Tylenol of the impact that can have on your liver. Applications for Anavar, great for fat loss phases. Like I said before, it seems to be ideally suited for contest prep, probably the last phase of contest prep. Because you have the increase in androgen retention, no estrogenic sides that will keep you nice and dry. Suppresses SHBG, which can be, rising SHBG can be a problem in contest prep. Suppresses cortisol. Cortisol gets elevated as you get deeper in the contest prep, so that's also very beneficial. As I mentioned before, anecdotal evidence that it does cause some additional fat burning. Like I said, I haven't seen any significant difference, but, some people claim that it does. Production promotes muscle retention and a caloric deficit that in Tren both did. I think Tren's more effective at it. It can be used in hypertrophy phases, but I don't know. I know some people love it. I've tried it before and I saw little to no difference. But it will make your strength go up. Half-life of Anavar, it has a 9 to 13 hour half-life, depending, there's a lot of things that could factor in how long it takes to metabolize what you eat. Your general overall body chemistry, what can affect it. But so, I've read studies that age seems to impact the half-life too. But if you want to keep a nice, even levels of it in your system, you probably want to take it twice a day, morning and evening. Cycles and doses, typical doses, I've seen guys take 20 to 30 milligrams per day. Is kind of a beginner dose. Intermediate dose, 40 to 50 milligrams per day. Advanced dose, 50 milligrams per day. I know one dude that was taking 200. I don't know how the fuck he afforded it, and I don't know why you would take 200 milligrams of an oral. With all the stress you're putting on your liver, you'd be better off taking an injectable, but it seems like a poor choice. But people do stupid things when it comes to steroids. Female doses, beginner dose, please don't quote me on the female doses. I'm not by any means the expert on what women take, but this is what I've heard. 5 to 10 milligrams is kind of the training wheels dose for women. Intermediate doses, like you have your local competitor that's doing a bikini contest at the local show, up to 30 milligrams. I've heard of some pros, I've heard rumors of some pro bikini physique competitors taking 30 plus milligrams, 50 plus milligrams, God only knows what, but I've heard of that. I've never actually spoken to anybody that has, so, take that with a grain of salt. My personal experiences with Anavar, if I'm going to take an oral, it's my favorite oral. I'm not a big fan of orals in general. They just fuck my stomach up. I lose my appetite. I save it for the last part of contest prep, and that would be it. But I'm not a particular fan of orals. I think you're putting undue stress on your system, and just put a needle on your ass and not have to deal with that, and you'll probably get better results. I don't know how you can get big if your stomach's upset and you can't eat. So it may be effective at putting size on, but it gives me diarrhea. I'll be honest with you. If I take too much of it, moderate side effects. I haven't experienced any crazy side effects. Most I've ever taken is 50 milligrams per day. 50 milligrams did elevate. When I took it by itself, did elevate by liver enzymes slightly. It wasn't anything crazy. It was probably in that 30% range that they were talking about. When combined with 50 milligrams of Winstrol in my last contest prep, my liver enzymes were destroyed. So I will not do that again. I will take lower doses or a shorter duration and also use some liver support with it. I do not use liver support. I've never had trouble with liver enzymes before, so this is the first for me, like significant trouble. So I don't. Next time I will use liver support. Probably take a lower dose. Anavar does upset my stomach. I've heard people report that I have to eat it with food. If I take it on an empty stomach, I am in trouble. It does suppress my appetite. All orals seem to suppress my appetite, which when you're in a hypertrophy phase is a disadvantage. You don't want to suppress appetite. I was always my big complaint with Anadrol. I know people love Anadrol for size and strength, but I don't want to eat when I take Anadrol. I don't know why you would consider that a good choice if you're not eating and you're trying to put size on. If you're a contest prep and you're suppressing your appetite, it's probably a good thing, right? It does harden me up. I will say that. It doesn't mean hardens me up. I get a drier, veinier look within a couple of weeks of starting it. It definitely makes me look good. Moving forward, I would only use it I just don't see a benefit for it in the hypertrophic phases because of what it causes a subbing, and I use things that are less taxing to my system. I would only use it moving forward, and this is really up to you, but for me personally, I'm only going to use it moving forward for contest prep and in probably the last 6 to 8 weeks. I will be more conservative when using it with one straw, obviously, after my recent experience. Ideally, it shouldn't be used in combination with other orals. If you're in a hypertrophy phase and you're taking this with D-ball or Adadra, you're fucking crazy. Loss of appetite and increased liver values are less than an ideal environment for growth, as we talked about. I mean, I just don't understand why people think you're going to grow if you're sick. You know, definitely more drugs work, but if you push the drugs so high you're sick, you're not going to want to train hard. You're not going to want to eat. That's not an ideal environment for growth. So you have to walk the line when it comes to this stuff.